It's setting the right goal in the first place is so key. And how would you
Mm-hmm.
recommend people think about the goal they're actually setting? Because it's all very well to, just say, I want to do this, or have some vague notion of like their goal. But but some people find it quite overwhelming, the whole concept of goal setting, because it
Oh,
can be
yeah.
so big, or it can be quite a small, just, oh, I
Yeah.
need to, make a cup of tea in 5 minutes. Like it can be, it can vary.
And that's fine. Yeah, and that is absolutely fine. Sometimes we have much bigger goals, and sometimes it could just be the immediate goal that fulfills us. So there is no one shoe fits all size. But what I would say in terms of goal setting is what I actually find through the response I've received from my journal is, which is surprising to me, but I guess if it's a skill that you don't practice, you're not aware of, it's taking time to reflect. Everyone goes, oh my goodness, this has allowed me to take some time off to really think about my life or think about where I'm going. I'm like, well, that's what we need to be doing every
Right.
day.
So true.
Right? We forget that. So once we're able to take that time out to actually reflect, am I feeling happy? What areas in my life do I feel like can be improved? You know, that's when you start coming up with what you want your life to look like. And that's when you start setting goals, because what you might initially think is your goal might actually not be what it is. Like you said, you could think, oh my God, I need to leave this job and start a new career in a different country. But once you think about it, you actually think, actually, no, if I took a few days off and went to a dance class and, actually cared for myself a little bit more, I'd be
Right.
perfectly happy. So sometimes you do have to just stop, reflect, and put it into context that makes you
That's
happy.
so true. And I suppose the next thing to say is to then feel that connection with the goal as well. So make sure that it is something that
Hmm.
really resonates with you, rather than something that you think you ought to be doing, or that somebody else has told you you should be doing. It's
Yes.
um how
Hmm.
would you really start that process of connecting with the goal, so that you know that it's something you're meant to
With a
be
goal,
working towards?
doing. That is a very good question. How do you connect with your goals? Um, Something I've learned through my own personal development
Hmm.
growth and from people like, Tony Robbins, for example, is that we're not chasing a goal. We might think, oh, I want to, become successful in my career. I want that new car. I want a bigger house. Those are tangible goals, but that's not what we're really chasing. What we're chasing is the emotion that having those things will give us. So if you can really understand what emotion that you're looking for, if it's, oh, I want to start a new business. Is it financial freedom? Is it security? Is it freedom, for example, just freedom to do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it? It's a feeling that we're chasing. So once you connect with that feeling, oh, I want to earn more money. Is it because you want to be able to provide for your family? It's a feeling that you're chasing. You want to feel that you're financially secure, that you won't want for anything, you're abundant. That's when the connection comes in, and that's when it's harder to break your motivation, because you're going by a feeling that you want, rather than, oh, I just want to make more money. But why do you want to make more money? Is it because you have a family to support? Yes. Why do you want to support that family? Because you want to feel responsible, you want to feel valued, you want to feel loved. Then you go deeper, and that's how you connect. You really tie what you do with your
And
goals.
I guess from what you're saying there, it's also understanding that why, your reason why. And I know we hear about it a lot, particularly
Hmm.
in business and growing a business, but in any area of life, the reason why you're doing something
Yeah,
is so fundamental to then
so
sustaining the
important.
motivation,
Yeah.
I think, to keep going with that
Hmm.
goal. And would
Yeah.
you um even go as far as saying think about that on a daily basis, have it somewhere, pin it up, or do something that can make you just remind yourself each day, a little trigger or something?
Yes, yes, it's so important. Your whys are the first step to understand why you actually want to go on that journey. And also, when you ask yourself why once, don't stop there. Keep asking why.
Going.
Because again, going further, and that's when you connect with the feeling. And then once you get that, that is what you need to carry. That is what you need to carry every day, because there are going to be challenges on your journey. You might not get that promotion. You might not, that business idea might not initially work. Someone might judge that, might kind of might say something negative to you that
Yeah.
really hurts. But if you know why you're doing it, it then connects you back and go, okay, this is just a challenge. This is something that I can overcome, and you will push further. And that's where the motivation, that's why you need to have it every day. And if, like you said, it's a post-it note in front of you, if it's a
Mhm.
vision board, if it's in your journal, in your diary, and also the reflection comes into place, because if you reflect every day, kind of in the morning before you set your goals, okay, I'm setting my goals. Does this align with my why and the feeling that I want to achieve? Or at the end of the day, I've done all these things. Have they taken me closer to my why and the feelings that I want to feel? So yes, you do need to do
Yes.
it regular. And even whilst taking those actions, you're asking yourself, if I make this phone call, is this taking me closer to my why and how I want to
Mhm.
feel as a person? If it's not, don't do it. Then you're just
I
wasting
think that's
time.
key because it really dictates exactly what you do that day. Because we obviously initially we were just talking about
Mm-hmm.
these bigger goals like the money or the house or your
Yeah,
family situation.
yeah.
But obviously on a day-to-day basis, what we're talking about are these small goals like
Mm-hmm.
the to-do list stuff
Yeah.
that we create each day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a good way to that you've just described in terms of culling that to-do list, in terms of getting it shorter so you're focused on what you should be
Mm-hmm.
working on today,
Yes.
is looking at that why. And yeah,
Yes.
and I think that's
Yeah. But once you've set those bigger goals, it's then breaking it down. So break it down to, okay, 5 years, 1 year, 6 months, 3 months, this month, today,
yes,
or,
yeah,
this week, today, because and also when we set goals, we kind of want it to happen now or
yeah,
yesterday.
so true.
It was like, oh, so I sent that email and it
Yeah,
hasn't
yeah,
happened,
that's so true.
But be realistic that, and I think we forget what we can achieve in 5 years or 10 years time. And then when we achieve those, we think, oh my God, this has just happened. Or someone else looks out and goes, oh my God, you're so lucky. It just happened. They don't realize that 5 years ago, you made a phone call. 5 years ago, you went to that meeting that you really didn't want to, but you knew it's going to get you where you need to be. So what you do today, I think that's the mindful thing. Set mindful goals, but be mindful every day in your actions and in what you do.
Yeah,
Is this really what I need to be doing? Is this going to get me where I want to go? And then commit to it 100%. It might be wrong, but you'll learn your lesson, right? Because we
right.
never know. We never
And
know.
you have to go some way down the track to know if it's right or not. You can't know. And I think
Exactly.
uncertainty about whether it's the right thing to be doing can actually hold us in paralysis
Mhm.
sometimes. You can be like, oh, should I be doing this? Should I be doing that?
Yes.
Which way do I go? And
Yes.
we get stuck there because we're not taking any action at all. We're
Hmm.
just going, wow, which way do I go? And
Exactly.
so I think, yes, you need to commitment to that goal, knowing that you can change
Yeah.
direction down the line. You can
Change.
pivot.
Exactly. And also
Yes.
trusting. Yeah, trusting yourself as
Mhm.
well, knowing that, okay, I'm committing to this. I'm not 100%, but this, trusting that you've done all the research you need to do before you
Yes.
made that decision, right? And that is the best decision out of all the other options that you've actually come up with. And trusting, going, okay, I've done what I need to do. Now I just need to do this and let go. And I think that's sometimes what we hold on to things quite closely as well, especially if it's a business
Yeah.
of ours or, something that's close to us. Oh my God, it's not perfect, so I can't put it out there. Get it to the point that you've done all you need to,
Okay.
all you can do. Put it out there, let go, and trust that if it's not the right thing, you will fix it. I mean, you've survived all these years.
Yes.
You can survive
It's
more.
so true. It's so true. And you were talking, you just mentioned about the commitment. It's that commitment. So making that choice and committing to
Yeah.
it. Would you recommend people do in order to stay the path and keep that? Because I think initially when we set a goal, and even if it is just a small thing that we want to do that day, we might sort of wake up full of gusto and energy, or we're feeling excited about where we're going, and that initial enthusiasm can carry you through. But that initial enthusiasm can also wane quite quickly, and at that point you're like, oh, the motivation goes and you feel a bit, lackluster
Yes.
about what you're doing. How can you
Yes.
keep that focus or that tempo going so that you do actually see that goal through?
Your mindset is the key, because without our mindset, we will not stick to anything. Mindset being, you have to train your mind. You need positive affirmations. You need to realize that there are going to be challenges along the way. You need to become resilient, and you also need to become brave and courageous, because there are going to be days you don't want to do it,
Oh yeah.
and you gotta do it,
Yes.
right? It's something you need to build every day. You need to think about, what are my thoughts? Am I having any negative thoughts that are going to stop me, are going to prevent me, going to hold me back? What fears am I holding on to? Because if we don't realize that, it's going to come around full circle. So perhaps you've had that, you're starting a business, but then in the past you've gone for a job interview and they've given you bad or negative feedback, but you haven't addressed that. But inside, it's still something that, hurts and still holds you back. But you want to go for this new exciting journey of starting your own business, and you haven't addressed that. There will come moments where, perhaps you need to take that step forward and something holds you back. If you don't stop and think, what's holding me back? Was it that negative review? How can I change it? How can I turn it around to make it a positive? So it's all about your mindset. I think mindset is 70% of what we do. And that's one of the things, that's a lot of the things I did before I started my business. I had a personal coach, I had mentors, I had accountability partners, just to work on my mindset, to kind of catch me when I'm going down a hole that I even didn't realize I was going down. Say visualization. The reason being is it takes you back to your why and the feeling. So this is what I do, and I've slacked a little bit, but I'm picking it up. And sometimes when things are going well, you're like, oh, I'm killing
So
this.
true.
It's good. I don't need to do this anymore, because I'm good.
And then it comes and bites you.
And it comes and bites you. It's like brushing your teeth. If you brush every day, everything's fine. If you don't brush for maybe a few days, it's not too bad. You're not going to have rotten teeth. But if you don't brush for a long time, that's when you go, oh. So again, it's you can have days off, but you need to pick it up. So visualization. So what I do in the morning, again, is I visualize my perfect day. What will I be doing? Where will I be? Who will I be with? How would I feel? It comes back to that why again. So when you start visualizing that, and then you can once you have that, you can bring it down to your day. So how do you visualize today being? It's going to be productive. Are you going to, step away from your fears? Are you going to be courageous? Are you going to, you're going to enjoy life a bit more? Are you going to actually have that feeling that you want in 5 years today? Because if we create that feeling now, that's what makes the process fun, and that's what keeps you in the journey. It's not about the destination, it's the journey. It's having that feeling now. So taking that feeling with you in the morning and making it the feeling that you hold on to during the day will propel you. I knew that when I started this business, one of the key things is I want more flexibility to do the things I enjoy when I want to do it. So as I started working self-employed, I purposefully booked classes in, my dance classes, my yoga classes, in the middle of the day. And I'm not saying you do that, but it just reminded me of that feeling that I wanted. So like I would have a class maybe on a Wednesday afternoon, and I'll be like, right, I'm free to do this. If I was working in an office, I would not be able to go to my yoga class. So yes, this is So, so put in things and actions that will allow you to feel what you want to achieve as if you're already achieving them now. It could be so small. It could be like, okay, I'm going to go to that coffee house and buy that, special coffee that I enjoy because it gives me a sense of control. It gives me a sense of, I'm achieving what I need to achieve,
Yeah.
whatever it is. Because when you have it in your head, sometimes it can seem very overwhelming. But when you put it on paper, it takes all the space, it takes out all the jumbleness in your head and puts it on paper. And I don't know if you've ever had this experience. You're like, oh my God, I just got so much to do today. I don't know. Oh goodness. And then you start writing it down, you write it, and you go, oh, okay, so I'll just do this in the morning, do that. And then once you do it, you go, oh, okay, that wasn't that bad. Because in our heads, it can be
feel
so
bigger.
much
It
bigger.
really can. And because I think there's so much else that you're thinking about, because one little thought triggers the next, and it's a little snowball. So you're thinking about what you need to get done, but that then triggers the next thing about what you need to do after that, or what I need to do before I do that. And so that, right, and oh my gosh. So yeah, just write it down. Just having that brain dump can be really useful. And from there you can then kind of make the plan. And so when it comes to the plan, do you have a structure or a way that you put together your day, or so that you've got a sort of a quite functional, actionable list of things that that you can get done?
Yes, I mean, you can put a lot of things on paper and do 80% of the things that you have on paper on your to-dos and still not get any further at the end of the day. I'm sure we all have been there. We're like, but I've been so busy, but I still feel like I've not achieved anything.
Yes.
You kind of free up some space. You're not anxious about the morning because you kind of know it's in control. You're like, okay, I know what I'm going to do. So your mind's not wondering, oh, how much workout do I have tomorrow? And also your subconscious starts working on those plans, on those lists as you sleep. So if it's something very difficult that you think, oh, it's going to be tricky, that one, I'm not sure I have the answer yet, plan that the night before. And it has been proven that the next morning, it will come easier because your subconscious has already started thinking about ways how to figure this out. We all have the answers. That's the thing. We're so powerful. Our brains are so intelligent, but it's just finding ways to make them work best for us. But essentially with this, it says 20% is going to give you 80% of the results that you're looking for. So out of your list, 20% of the to-dos is likely going to give you 80% of the results, which is far closer than the other 80% that you might be doing, and it's only going to take you 20% closer. But you've done so much, you spent all hours doing those things, and it's identifying what is important, not urgent. Right? Because we want to do the urgent stuff. Oh my God, I have to make that phone call, but that phone call is going to do absolutely nothing to your business or to your life. And going, okay, that's urgent, but it's not important. And you find that the things are probably things that you're afraid of, you don't know that what you don't like doing, perhaps. And you have to do that. And Eat the Frog is a good book to read about that.
Yes, Eat the Frog. Get rid of that first job, the one that you're putting off and procrastinating on. Yes, I like that idea too. It's something I do try and do. It's that one thing. It's like, I've got to do this. I don't want to do this. Get it out the way.
So I would break my goals. So you have, say, a list of 10 things to do. You do your Pareto principle and you go out of those 10, 2 or 3 things are. And ultimately, what you're doing is those things are the things that will get me furthest to my end goal, my 5-year plan, not to tomorrow, not to next week, but to the end goal. Hence, you plan for that, but you're mindful about what you do today. And then you have the fluff. That's what I call the rest, the fluff. That's what we tend to do first. We tend to do the fluff. Oh, let me just do this, and I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this. And then at the end of the day, you're like, I've not really achieved anything. You feel underwhelmed, disappointed with yourself. So that's how I break. And then You can choose to do the middle stuff and the fluff if you want to. But again, it depends on the outcome that you actually, or what feel. Because for me, if my goal is to have more free time, why bother with the fluff? I want to use that time, and that's why it's important. That's what time management is about. Knowing that I don't need to do that, and it's okay if I don't do that because I've managed my time because I want to do these things instead. I want to go spend time with my family instead. I want to go dancing instead. I want to go spend time with nature instead. There is no point working 24/7. Hence the whole balance thing. You need to find balance. And one good way of how I do that is because in the journal, it's split between 6 themes. So you have your personal and spiritual, your family and friends and relationship, business and career, finance, money, celebration, which is so important. I think I'll touch on that as the final point. And you need to make sure that you're doing something that will benefit those sections, because if you're chasing your business, you haven't worked in, well, you're not spending time with your family, you're not looking after your health, you're not checking your finances, and they all kind of fall down in terms of your priority. It's going to
Yeah.
come and bite you in the butt soon, because because when you do achieve that amazing success and your business is successful, you have no one else. You don't have your family around you. You don't have friends around you. Your health, without your health,
Yeah.
you can't do anything.
The word that comes to mind when you've been saying that with time management is intention, being intentional, and being very
Yeah.
clear about where you're going to spend your time. For me, I used to struggle
Yeah.
with that quite a lot, and I found it's quite liberating to go, I'm making the choice to do this, and this is where I'm spending my time.
Yes.
I know I've got 100 other things to do, but I am choice and
Mm-hmm.
valuing my time, and this is where I'm going to be spending right now. And for me, I found that,
Yes.
I don't know, it was just a very small mind shift, but it was very powerful for me.
It's not small at all. I think that's where we feel lost. We kind of grow up and we do the things that we're supposed to do. We get a good job, we get a place, blah blah blah, and then we feel like we're in a hamster wheel, and it's not about our choice anymore. It's just what we do. It's life. But when we stop and go, actually, no, this is what I choose to do. This is what I love doing. This is what I know that I don't like doing it, but it's gonna get me where I need to go, need to be. Then it's kind of co-creating your life, and that's what makes it more fulfilling, because you feel like you're in control. You're not just being life is not just taking you from side to side and you don't know where you're heading. And I think that's what you mean by that control
Yes,
of, I'm
absolutely.
choosing to do
Exactly
this.
it. Yes,
Yeah.
and because for me, it was always around
Yeah.
the parental stuff, the guilt of like, where I'm spending my time,
Mm-hmm.
like with my children. If I'm spending my time with my children, then I feel really bad
Yeah.
that I'm not doing some work. I've got all these things to do, but then I'm trying to do my work, and my head's with my kids. Oh, I'm looking after them and playing with them, and I'm neglecting them. As soon as you
Yeah.
are intentional and
Yeah.
make that choice to go, right now, I am spending the next hour with this or doing this.
Yes.
It's I don't know. It helps. It feels
It
good.
feels
It feels
great.
better, and you know that there's nothing else controlling you, and that you've made it, and you're in control.
Yes. And you get better work done as well. The time you spend
It's
with
not
your
someone else.
child is more
Yes.
fruitful. Yeah, yeah. Your child will probably perceive, oh, mum's with, I could, you actually connect with, and then the time you spend working, you actually work. And I mean, it's the same when you're working, because there are times where I'm like on the screen, on, working, and I'm like, oh, I'm kind of watching YouTube on the side.
Yeah.
And
You're not being mindful. You're not being present. No, at
you're
all.
not being, you're not being present. And you have to say, Rosemary, okay, no, you know what? I'm going to spend 20 minutes just watching YouTube and enjoying it and laughing, because it's
Yeah.
actually quite good. Laughing is good, because it brings up your endorphins, it puts you in a good mood, and it's not a bad thing if you do it mindfully and go, okay, I'm going to spend the next 20 minutes just having a great time on YouTube, and then after that I'm going to do some work,
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
okay.
I think that's it. Yeah, it's okay sometimes. You don't have to be constantly, zoned in. If you can't be, you can't sustain that.
You
So,
know, you know. And I think the final point that I just wanted to make, this is so important, is celebration. Celebrating every wins, regardless of how small it is or how big it is. I think we forget we have all these to do lists, and we do it, do it, do it, do it, and we don't stop again and go, oh wow, I just did that, well done. Or even the simple things, we it's celebration and gratitude, and going, wow, this is where I am, and I'm grateful, and I've actually, like you have children, and you know how important it is, positive reinforcement with them. Even if it's just crawling, you go, wow, great. But but you don't do that to
Yeah,
yourself,
right.
right?
It's so true. Acknowledging the small wins, and I think it's so true when you're self-employed and when you're working from home, because there's no one around to celebrate with often, and you can forget it or dismiss it or just feel it's not that important. But like you say, take that time to give yourself a pat on the back, or maybe have a little reward for something. Reward yourself
Yes,
with
a nice hot drink, like you said, maybe going to that yoga class or whatever it is that you've always wanted to. It doesn't have to be expensive. Cooking a nice meal, just, and also, I mean, it might sound nice, but scientifically, there's actual benefits to it, because you're training your brain to look for positive outcomes and to look for solutions. So the more you celebrate, the more your brain is, okay, so I need to do things right. I need to keep doing this to get this positive affirmation. And that's how you kind of sustain that motivation, internal motivation, and build that mindset of and then when you come to a task that's really difficult and challenging, your brain's not going to think, oh, this is challenging. It's going to think, oh, okay, I've done all those other things, so this, I can do this too.